Up until this point, we've been dealing with equations that have had a pronumeral or a letter on only one side of the equation. But in this video, we're going to learn how to deal with equations that have a pronumeral on both sides, and what do we do to still be able to find out what the value of that pronumeral is. So here we're still solving an equation algebraically, except you'll see that we have a pronumeral on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Usually what we do is we move everything around the pronumeral to get it on its own, and that's how we get our solution. But this time we're going to have to move the pronumeral to one side. So we can either move 7t or 5t. And because they're both positive, we're going to subtract one of them. Now if we subtract 7t, we'll end up with 5t take away 7t, which will give us a negative number. And we always like to avoid having negative numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 5t from both sides, just so that way it can be a little bit neater. And that will give me 7t take away 5t, and 5t take away 5t on the other side, which of course this cancels out. Now if I subtracted 7t, then this part here would have been a negative number. We don't want to deal with negatives because it makes us more likely to make a mistake. So after we cancel out that, we've got 2t plus 4 equals 10. Alright, and now let's try and do what we normally do, and let's get rid of the adding. So let's take away 4 from both sides. Alright, and we should get 2t plus 4 take away 4 equals 10 take away 4. And of course, these cancel out, so we're left with 2t equals 6. And then we do, again, what we normally do, we choose to divide both sides by 2. Okay, and that gives us t equals 3. Let's try another example. So 6t plus 4 equals 22 minus 4t. So before we said if we have two positive numbers, it's probably a good idea to think about which one you want to subtract. But for this one here, I'm going to try and get rid of negatives. So I'm going to plus 4 to both sides, plus 4t. Okay, and that should give me exactly that, which then means this part here cancels out, and I'm left with 10t plus 4 equals 22. And then we continue going on with what we normally do. Let's subtract 4 from both sides, and we get 10t plus 4 take away 4, which cancels out, and 22 take away 4 is 18. Now, this is the reason why I've included this example, is because we want to now divide both sides by 10. Alright, and of course these cancel out, which means we're left with, we can't really simplify this fraction, we can't make it a whole number, we're left with t equals 18 over 10. And if you really wanted to show off, you could say that this is also equal to 9 over 5. And this is the last type of question you'll get for an exercise like this. And we've got two pronumerals on both sides, but we also have two sets of brackets on both sides. So just like we did in the previous exercise, we want to expand the brackets first. And that should give us, if you remember from algebra last topic, 6t plus 2 equals 10t minus 30. And then you've got a very similar problem to what we've just been doing in this video. So now we can focus on moving the t's around. So if I have a positive 10t here and a positive 6t here, I will probably be subtracting one of them first. Now if I subtract the bigger number, which is 10t, I'll end up with 6t take away 10, which gives me a negative number. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do that. I'm going to subtract 6t from both sides. And that's going to give me a much nicer and more positive number. This is going to cancel out, and we're going to be left with 2 on the left hand side and 4t minus 30 on the other side. Cool. So now this does look a little bit different because the number that's by itself is on the left, but it still doesn't change anything. We still need to get that t by itself. So I'm going to plus 30 to both sides. And that's going to give me 32 equals 4t, because this section here cancels out. And then we just divide both sides by 4, which gives us 8 equals t, or t equals 8. And that's of course because these 4's cancel out.